Hey everybody, it's Uncle John from Your Story Hour again, and we're ready to come in and take another chapter in Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo, and Still Mo by Sam Campbell. Today, it's chapter number 3, and it's entitled Bad Dream Ahead. In the days that immediately followed the coming of the Squints, we had no difficulty finding Captain Duke. He spent most of his time sitting in a corner of the squirrel's cage, playing with the funny little creatures. They accepted him as a part of their lives, and with absolute freedom ran all over him as if he were a tree. They perched on his head. They ran in and out of his trouser legs. They disappeared down the collar of his shirt and came out of his sleeves, and not infrequently they went to sleep in his pockets. Often when we called him to lunch or dinner, he would shout back some such message as, "Can't come now, I'm a dormitory for these young redskins." He had rather miss a meal than move and disturb them. Duke had a wonderful time watching and studying the simple little animals. He forgot completely his spick-and-span uniform bearing the captain's insignia. For him, this was a leave indeed, his thought fully absorbed with the natural and real things of the world. The war, as purely a human invention as the implements of destruction employed in it, was far removed from this realm of plants and creatures, tides and seasons, all arising from a principle and power beyond human comprehension. We were careful not to recall the military thought to him. Only once did he speak of it, and then briefly. One evening, as we stood looking at Venus, the evening star shining resplendently in the afterglow, the world had come to rest. The Squints were huddled in a furry red ball in one corner of their nest within the cage. Up toward the stars and the foliage of the birch tree, a robin uttered his sleepy song. Duke was silent and serious, his infectious good humor tucked away while his mind dwelt on deeper things. And this is the world of reality, he said quietly, as though thinking aloud. The world that was and is and always will be. He paused for a moment, and Jenny and I made no reply. In the distance, a barred owl deepened the silence with its weird cry. How it lifts hope to know that this world of nature pays no attention to human bluff and blunder, Duke continued. It just goes on blooming, growing, unfolding. We can destroy some of its effects and none of its causes. We can burn a forest, but we cannot prevent a new one from coming. He paused again, and we stood in silence. It was one of those sacred moments when thought is realizing great truths, and one must be careful not to break the spell. It took a few more minutes of starlight and solitude to bring forth Duke's next words. After the First World War, Duke began again, someone asked General Pershing what was the most wonderful thing he saw in France. He replied that it was the way the larks sang during battles. Duke stopped. We feared he had turned to a subject that would disquiet thought, for he knew well the ground on which he stood. "I hold to that," the young soldier said. "I know what is ahead. The kind of training we have received tells us what to expect. But it helps to know that we cannot lose this." He looked around at the nocturnal beauty. "It will be here when we return, and birds will sing, even on the battlefields." Jenny slyly wiped away a tear, and I swallowed hard a lump in my throat that wouldn't go down. But Duke laughed a little. He would laugh whenever it would help matters. "It seems to me like going into a dream voluntarily," he went on. "It is a different kind of dream. Most dreams just happen to you. But this dream we choose, and we deliberately walk right into it. I dread it, and frankly I am afraid, but I wouldn't miss it for the world. Because it is our dream, and we must see it through. It is a bad dream, like the kind we have in sleep when we've eaten something indigestible. Well, we have thought something that is indigestible, we human beings have. We have been feasting on selfishness and hate. No wonder such a nightmare has been conjured up. But since I have been here, where the real world keeps rolling in, I know that all this other is just a kind of dream. And when it is over, and we all awake again, this will be just as it is now. There will be robins singing, stars sparkling, trees growing, solitude and peace still in the world. Yes, and baby red squirrels too. That little speech presented the true character of our soldier. Everyone is a philosopher, for everyone must have his notion of life and duty. Duke had formed his. The great tragedy of human experience, war, was to him a dream taking place in ignorance and evil thinking. He would not flatter it by calling it real. While toying with the tiny squirrels so light-heartedly, he had been finishing his conviction. This changing of unchangeable, ever different, ever the same world of nature was his parable. For here were things that last, things that are true, things that antedate and outlast human mistakes and misery. And I believe I know what real peace would be, Duke continued, as we walked toward the cabin. It doesn't make peace just to stop fighting, though it helps. And there is more to it than just being here where it is quiet and beautiful, though that helps too. Once in a while, I have reached the place where peace was so close at hand that I knew where to seek it at least. It is when I forget myself, and as someone said, look through nature to nature's God. We had paused for a moment where a little break in the trees let us look toward the northern horizon. Northern lights were glowing about the northern star. Several meteors streaked the heavens as we watched. Yes, Duke picked up his thought. We don't really find peace until we get close to him. Some way, somehow. I wish I knew. And that's the end of chapter 3. Come back next time and Aunt Nikki will bring you chapter number 4, to make a long tale short. Oh, wonder what that's about. Come back tomorrow and find out.